Hey, hello, everybody. So everyone, how's everybody is doing? Kevin Chan here again, 7:30 in the morning. Today gonna go deeper a little bit in terms of the BaZi studies, and we're gonna take a look at the a bit of the intro to different schools of BaZi. Yes, BaZi also got different schools. Not only Chinese metaphysics got 5 art, within BaZi itself also got different schools, right? So it's like that, right? So every single one also have their own branches because everybody is trying to be special, right? So today we're gonna understand a little bit, right? So in terms of the world of BaZi, the different at least the different main type of school that is popular, right? I'm sure all of these you have seen before. Okay, you have seen before all of this. So of course today's message is try not to mix them together. A very simple message, don't mix things together, right? So I can see that Pepper is around, Sabrina is around, Kelvin is around. So how are you guys all doing, right? So hopefully everybody is doing super fine, right? So we are already deep inside the month of goat, right? Month of goat, the deep inside already, almost gonna move into the month of monkey soon. So fast. All right, so come, let us go in and take a look. Shrink myself down to a smaller version first. Right, so like usual, right? So a bit of a glorified self-promotion a bit. Right, so there's a Telegram. You want to get in touch with me, right? So Telegram is a good place. There's also occasionally I'll put certain things inside for you to download inside Telegram. Then there is also the monthly newsletter, so which is an email service. You put down your email there, then anything that I publish in this particular platform will be sent a copy to you, just like newspaper delivery. So what is being put inside, mostly is going to be forecast related matter. So the monthly forecast written version is inside, and if I go through any excursion, it will basically be written inside as well, right? So then there is the community channel, right? So community channel is for those of you who are in Chinese metaphysics who might need a little bit of a support, make sure that you are not the only person who is studying these things. You can join the Facebook page, right? So that's where you find a little bit more information. You want some discussion, go to the Facebook page and post it there, so that I know what are the discussion that you need. So like for example, if there's certain things that you guys found that is intriguing, you want to understand a little bit, I can probably help. You go to the community channel and post it there, right? So that I can see it. Maybe I'll make a topic out of it. Hello Jocelyn, hello Jeannie, how are you doing? Right, so welcome. So today we're going to talk about different school, right? So now just to bring you into the perspective, let's take a look at this, right? You guys know what's the difference between these? What are the difference between them? Okay, anyone know what are them first? What are these three plate of things? Okay, what are these three plate of things? So what do you call these three plate of things? Come on, tell me. Right, when you see this, what do you call this three plate of things? Hello, Sabrina. Taste. Okay, roughly acceptable answer, right? What other answer do we have there? Right, fried noodle. Okay, fried noodle, mee goreng, right? They are basically noodles lah, right? They are basically noodles, right? So one of them is Indian fried noodle. Then we got the Chinese chow mein, and we have the Italian fried noodle, right? So now tell me, all of them are noodle, but are they the same or not? They're all noodles, right? Are they the same or not? Right, so can you compare a plate of chow mein, which is the Chinese fried noodle, to a plate of Italian fried noodle? Are they comparable? Right? No, they're not comparable stuff. You really cannot go and tell people that the Indian fried noodle is more superior than the Chinese fried noodle. Right, so this can only happen between Singapore and Malaysia lah. So we all said that the Singapore chicken rice is more authentic than Malaysian chicken rice. So we do that, okay? Right, so but it's still same level chicken rice. But did you notice that a lot of people who practice BaZi like to mix different school together? right? One school said that, you know, they are better than the other school, but when you put them together, they are actually of a very different school, and the technique that they use is different, right? So now the main difference between an Italian fried noodle, Cantonese fried noodle, Indian fried noodle, Malay fried noodle, Sichuan fried noodle, Canton fried noodle, Beijing fried noodle, Shanghai fried noodle is basically the way that it is being prepared and the way it is being done, right? Correct or not? Right? So it's just different, right? You don't put them together one, you know. Right? You never put one plate of noodle with another completely different plate of noodle and trying to convince yourself that, you know, they are the same, and you're trying to tell people that this is better than this. And no, right? So they will always be separate noodle. The Indian fried noodle will always be the Indian fried noodle. The Chinese fried noodle will always be the Chinese fried noodle, and Italian is always not very suitable to be fried. Right. So what happens when you try to mix things together? Right? When you go and mix things together, you get abomination. Now, abomination that look like this. Durian ramen. Seriously, I don't know how you're gonna freaking eat a durian ramen, right? So no. Now you have seen a lot of this thing happening. No, this one, you know, I found it on the internet. It's pretty jokeful, right? It looked like a Japanese Malaysia combination, because ramen is a Japanese invention. So you cook ramen inside durian, you know, it's like a fit, right? So now you have seen this before a lot of time, like, you know, there was one period whereby the salted egg become very popular, right? Salted egg, you know, now this one, you know, Singapore there's this salted egg fish skin, salted egg salmon skin, right? One period of time is really very, very hot. Now right now, you know, not hot anymore, right? So then you start to see that everything got salted egg in it, right? You got salted egg this, salted egg that, salted egg whatever. Also, you throw salted egg into it. Then there was a period whereby, you know, everything was cheese. You got cheese inside your drink, you got cheese inside your noodle, you got cheese inside your rice. You know, cheese was like freaking everywhere, right? So, and then this particular period, you start to see that, you know, durian in coffee, durian in noodle, durian in ice cream, durian in absolutely everything. So when the thing become popular, it tend to creep into the rest of the things together, and it become mixed. But you know, this is not the way the food is supposed to be presented. Correct, right? So, you know, once in a while, you just want to taste it in this particular manner, is fine. Now, BaZi also is the same. Right? So BaZi got different school, different sect, and they are not even in the same time frame. Even time frame is different. Right? So, and the difference between one time frame and another time frame could be 100 years, right? So, but then we still insist to mix everything together, you know. Then, you know, you end up in a situation whereby, you know, I call ham tam is not here nor there. This food were not Japanese, nor was it Malaysia, and Malaysia right now got a lot of this fusion restaurant, right? So I call them the Gen Z restaurant, right? So, you know, they are mixture of, you know, fusion food lah, right? So the fusion food is not local nor it is international. You couldn't reach any point, right? So that is what's the problem when you mix things together. So today we're gonna basically be looking at different schools so that you understand that these are different schools, and hopefully you stop trying to mix them together, right? You stop trying to mix them together, which means that if you're gonna use a certain school's methodology, you stick to that school methodology and you stick to that school's parameters, right? Sometimes it's not healthy mixing them together, okay, right? Just remember your durian ramen. Has anybody actually tried durian ramen before? I myself try to avoid, you know, all these mutants. Even durian ice cream. No. You eat durian, okay? Right, so I see Kissing just join, Rag just join, Brian just join, Gigi just join, Cindy just join. All right, come, let's take a look at one of the school. So this is a very old school, right? So it's basically the Nayin, right? So the Nayin school, right? So for those of you who doesn't know, Nayin very simple, 60 pillar, they group every 2 pillar into one major element. Right, 60 pillar, every 2 pillar basically put into one major element, then they give a really nice kick-ass name to the element itself. Like for example, 甲子一丑, these 2 pillar belong to this called go in the sea element. So it's basically metal element. That's it, right? These 2 pillar belong to metal element. Gone. Then you know there is a slew of descriptive text that is attached to the go in the sea. You know, go in the sea. No, if you are the go in the sea type of people, right, which means that you are a metal people. And by the way, this particular school, the application is to the year of birth. This one also is gonna be for some people very confusing, right? The BaZi system started with the year of birth first. Right, so which means that the traditional system really very traditional. We are using the modern system, by the way. Right, so for us who use day master on it, day master is a new invention. Right, before this everything was year, because why? Society, community is more important than individual. Right, so only after Ziping, later we will talk about that. Only after Ziping that he have rearranged certain stuff that he said that individual is more important than the society. But either way around doesn't matter, right? So time changes the way that people see, right? So now in the olden day, really community is definitely more important than the individual, because why? Individual cannot survive. In the olden day, if you are not part of a community, you die. Very, very simple. Because why? The environment is very harsh. Right, environment is very harsh. The place that you are staying in is very secluded. It's not as easy as right now for you to see another human. Right, so you basically see more. Right, so even though Yi is rock wealth to Jiana, see Pepoi, you are mixing things up together. In this system, there is no rock wealth. Rock wealth haven't been invented yet. Right, in this particular time frame, in this particular system, the rock wealth have not been invented yet. See, you mix up, you know, something that was from a different era, from a different school into this. So that's why when you are studying this, right, if you're studying Nayin school, right, please delete all the things that you have, all the rubbish that you have inside your brain. You just study it as based on how this one is supposed to be applied, supposed to be used. So this is a year pillar usage. You use it as a year pillar, Gaudi, right? So using the 7-day part of the reading, so don't mix it. Now you see, Henry, even worse still, you try to mix like Indian and Chinese and Western astrology. You try to bring the whatever retrograde into. Don't do that. Do not do that. You are confusing yourself, right? So first of all, you're confusing yourself. And another one is that your application is going to be all over the places. Not going to be good, right? So this is one of the schools. Just tell you about this school exists. In Feng Shui also we use Nayin. In Feng Shui also we use. Right? Nayin is basically establishing the melody. Right? So the entire pillar is converted into one element. Right? So we don't see the pillar as separate element. Right, to the entire pillar, because at that point in time it wasn't so sophisticated. At that point in time, if you are able to do 30 category of grouping, you just imagine this is just 30 category of grouping. Every 2 pillar there's grouping of one of this, right? So they are all grouped into the separate elemental characteristic. It's already quite amazing, at that point in time. Right, you got 30 category of things is already very, very amazing. MBTI only got 16. You guys know MBTI, now very famous psychometric tests that a lot of corporations do MBTI. They only got 16 categories. It's actually same application. You take certain stuff and then you group them into different grouping. This one got 60 grouping, 30 grouping. So you got 30 different descriptions. So if you're studying this, just remember the grouping. That's it. not a very difficult system to use though, right? So it's not very complicated, not very rough. The system is super rough, right? Super rough system, which means that if I see this pillar, then I will just quote the text that is prescribed to this particular pillar. That's it. That is you, that's your life, right? So there's no such thing as luck pillar lah, all these kind of things doesn't come in, right? It's just basically categorizing everybody into 30 different groups, which is already pretty awesome. Right, just remember at this point in time, this is awesome. So right now, this system, still used, not very popular already, because why? The classical text isn't much availability, and very difficult to make sense of, why it was written in such a manner. Okay, why it was written in such a manner, very difficult to make sense, right? So which means that it is not really that well documented as compared to the rest. This needs to be compared to the rest. It's not saying that this method of doing things is not correct or whatever it is. It's just that this is a very old pre-evolved system, right? So very old pre-evolved system. It was very effective during at that time. Not like right now, you want to use it, you can use it as well, provided that you can remember all the what we call the 30 different categories, right? So I will probably make one session to talk about all these 30 categories one day, right? It will be done, right? So because I'm trying to dig out the old slide, I don't know where it ran to already. I'm lazy to redo the slide. I know I've done the slide before already, right? So just trying to find them first. Once I find it, then reconstruct all the necessary thing, then I'll start sharing this. Another 30 episodes, very easy. Right. Okay, right. So this is just one method of it. Just remember, this is just one school, very old school, right? So this one is still using the year. Then this one is very familiar one. The next one is very familiar, which is the Shensha school. Right? This one damn familiar. I call this the Chinese New Year school. Chinese New Year school. Right. So it's pretty simple. You just compare two components together, right? So this basically, so this one is basically the precursor to the 10 god system. It's a precursor to the 10 god system because this entire thing is work on two-factor comparison, right? This is a two-factor comparison, right? So like for example, this one is comparing the heaven stem to the branch, right? So this is comparing heaven stem to the branch. Right, so which means that if you got this heaven stem and if you see this branch means this. If you got this heaven stem, you see this branch mean this. Right, this heaven branch, this don't mean this. Right, so or you see that if you got this branch, when you see this branch, it means that. This branch, see that branch, it means that. Right, so it's basically again now you can see that the application is roughly the same as Nayin, which means that you got to meet each other, then you got a set of description that is given to you. This is the meaning. That's how you basically apply. And the Shensha method is actually applied to the year. So that's why Chinese New Year very popular using this. So they use the year as the basis point and they compare the year to the rest of your BaZi chart to construct the Shensha. Right, so now this one again, the one of the main issue is that it is not that flexible. It's very rigid. Right, so what happens if you're that particular pillar, like for example, if you have a snake pillar and then you got a goat inside your chart, right? So snake with a goat, then you don't have any auspicious Shensha at all. Don't have a zero auspicious Shensha. So how? Forever being determined as a failure, is it? There's no way to shake it off this one, right? So much like the Nayin method. The Nayin method also no way to shake it off. Right? So it's like if you are given that particular pillar, Nayin pillar, and that Nayin pillar, the text is supposed to be lousy, then lousy forever. Right? Cannot change lah. Right? Although need to lesson on parent and child interaction relationship based on day master. Yeah, sure. Now I got an entire book on that. Go and buy it if it's still available in the market. Right, so like for example, this one pretty easy. Like this year is the year of the what we call your Yi Wood, right? So this year, this is Yi Wood. Yes, right. So wooden snake, Yi Wood, right? So Yi Wood, you got the rat and the monkey as the heavenly Yi nobleman. So very easy. So anybody with rat, anybody with the monkey inside their chart, then you automatically you got heavenly Yi nobleman. Then there is a description attached with heavenly Yi nobleman. What does it mean? Then you have that. The reading is like that only one. Very easy. Right, so again, if you can remember all the Shensha, few hundred only, 100 few lah, not few hundred. The main one is basically probably about 100 plus main one. Right, so then there is a lot of subcategory that appear over time. Right, so you can remember it, pretty easy to read. Right, not too difficult. You are here got this and this mean this. Very easy to do. Right, so I know a few master who does reading basically just based on Shensha. Accurate or not accurate? I feel it very difficult to apply. Right, so which means that you say that no, you got heavenly nobleman. No, a lot of people like to come and assist you. Then, right, the then part of it is very difficult. Then how? So which means what? A lot of people come and assist you, nobleman, what's up? People come and help you out. Then how, right? Oriwo destiny reading, but it's very popular. It is very comforting. Right? So Shensha is very comforting one. You hear the Shensha term, your chart got 天意怪人. Suddenly feel much more on already. Right? Yeah, that's basically Shensha. Right, so this one also, as I'm trying to do a project on Shensha. So if you ever get done, right? I'm trying to do a video, on all the Shensha. Right, so if it ever get done, right? So now this is like biting on something that's too big to be chewed on. After doing it for some time, it's just like, very difficult to do, because why the classical text is a piece of shit, really, right? So why is good and snake in chart is forever failure. So again, snake when you compare to goat, they don't have good Shensha. They don't have any good Shensha. Okay, right? So if you are, if you are based on the 4 pillar, so you are born on the year of snake and one of the 3 pillar is goat, right? That pillar forever no good, So right, the reading is really gonna go in that particular direction, right? So you see that pillar forever no good, right? Dan Shensha, Peggy, that is like super small fraction of the Shensha. Probably I've done maybe 20 only. I've done maybe 20 only. I'm trying to find but at least almost complete listing of it to do. But the classical text is really piece of shit, man. No good, right? So even the heavenly nobleman, the actual explanation is very bad. Right? Actual explanation is damn bad. The formula look okay right? So but the formula not much use on. The formula very easy to do. But anyway this is another school. Now this one and also Nayin is predominantly a year pillar reading. They uses the year pillar at the focal point. So which means that during this particular period, society is more important. During that particular period, basically, there's no such thing as individual. Okay, right? So it's no individualistic. There's no individual. Everybody is just basically part and parcel of a society. So society become very important. So that's year pillar, right? Then after some time came this particular person, right? So now this fella is the epic conversionist of the entire thing, because why? He collected a lot of this classical text, rearranged them. So the guy is Ziping, right? So this one is the structure method. Structure method mean 格局 格局法 is basically reading using structure. Structure is 格局 frame, whatever it is. So this is Ziping. So this is only when the wording of your 10 God started to come up. Before that, there were no such thing as 10 God. Right? This is where these things start to be popular. It start to be invented. Right? So this is when it start to be invented. Right? So this is where popularity come in. So most of us are basically Ziping aligned. We don't really use too much Shensha. We don't really use too much that one. right? So this is basically the Ziping method. So anybody when they talk, then you see that they use the structure, right? So we use structure, like for example, this is called the Six Sen Seng Choi Gong, the eating God growing the wealth structure, right? So now it's still adopting the olden day, which means that if you have this structure, this is gonna be the description. You're gonna have this part of thing. Right? This is basically how the particular system work, right? Vietnam still use a lot of the Shensha and Nayin. Yeah, no, Vietnam use Shensha, Nayin a lot. Thailand also use a lot of Shensha. Right? So Thailand Shensha is very, very popular. So again, it's a very comforting system. You listen to the wording, it's like, oh, it's like understand, stuff like that. Hong Kong also a lot is also using a lot of Shensha. Right, so now this one is the structure. So this one is the very popular one. So basically this one separate into 36 different structure. Right, so the official structure is the 36. Then after that, they got more. Right, so this one also I'm currently arranging all the information. Right, so I'll start to introduce different structure to you all. Right, so, and also that is easier for you. But basically, if you hear people using, indirect well, eating God, whatever it is, Ziping. So now Ziping, the main difference is that he has shifted the focal point from year to day. They become, important, which is actually appropriate, by the way. So if you're talking about right now, the more modern way of doing things, who cares about the society? Me more important. Right, so it's just focal point change only. It's just focal point change only. The technique is basically the technique of comparing between two elements. Right, so it's a reading of elemental comparison. That's all only. Right, so they are reading elemental comparison. So you can see that the Nayin is basically elemental reading for an entire pillar. They don't separate the pillar. Right, elemental reading for an entire pillar. Then the Shensha is comparison between two components, much like how this Ziping BaZi is, which is the structural method of reading. Right, so structural method of reading, which is how this one works, and it's comparison of the two things. So the comparison of the two things basically decide upon the structure. So the BaZi chart is called a structure, a gong. Structure means that more than one component putting together a gong. So when you put this one together, then it becomes a structure when you take a look at it. So when you have this particular structure, it means this. That's basically how the system works. Right, so we are actually pretty well versed with this particular system. Anybody today who study BaZi is gonna predominantly use this particular system. Can you mix the other system into it? Can, but the other system becomes supplementary to this particular system. You cannot use the other system to override this particular system. Then some people does that. Right? Some people try to do that, which is not a too good of a practice. Which means is that you try to cook Italian, but you put too much curry powder into it. You try to cook Italian food, right? Instead of putting paprika sauce. Paprika is Mexican, right? Okay, right, so you go and throw a lot of curry powder, curry leaf into it, and what happened to your Italian cooking? This is not gonna taste good, right? So Italian cooking is not gonna taste very well. But anyway, right, so this one you guys is very well versed of it. All of you have done this. Put ginger into Italian cooking, God. In Italian, Indian, Italian, Indian. Alright, so now this system, you guys are quite well versed in it. It's just that please again try not to mix the system together. Try your best. Right now, the system that got mixed the most together with this particular system is this system. Right, so this particular system, which is the strong and weak system. So this one is like. Now, anybody who basically use the word strong and weak, oh, my day master is a strong day master, is from this school. Right. My day master is strong day master is basically from this school. So the difference between this school and also the Ziping structural school is that this one is, again, It is talking about one particular pillar, one particular element characteristic. So this is called the element school, or the one technique that you all are somehow a bit familiar with is the 12 growth phase. The one with Zhang Shen, Mu Yu, Guan Dai, whatever it is, right? So the 12 growth phase is actually from this particular school one. Right, so this particular school emphasize a lot on the quality of the element. Right, quality mean that whether this element is strong, this element is weak, this element is however it is. We often mix this and the structural school together. Right, so we say, oh, this particular one, oh you have to be strong day master, and then go and find the useful god. These are terminology which is very what we call endogenous in this particular school. So if you are studying this school, there are certain rules set that this school basically is doing, right? So which means that if you are studying this school, then okay, then you please use back the rules and regulation of this school lah. All right, you don't try to use the rules and regulation of the other school and then try to governing this particular school. Is just wrong when you do that. Right? Can you use this particular school? Then you add in the 10 god into it. Cannot. Right? But you don't try to 10 god this particular thing, right? So if you are reading 10 god, then please read 10 god. So which means that a person with a eating god structure, they have a certain characteristic. They don't care whether your eating god is strong eating god or weak eating god. As long as you got eating god, that is your description. All right. Does this one use a date of birth? All of them uses date of birth. All of them uses date of birth, Peggy. Every single one of them is using date of birth. It's the BaZi chart is the same one. It's how you read and how you make sense of the BaZi chart. That is where the difference is. Right? It's just basically different reading methods. So just now I just tell you it's all noodle. Is how you cook and what the hell you throw into the noodle that make the noodles different. All of them are noodle, but aka all of them are wheat flour. Okay, happy. All of them are wheat flour here, right? Okay, right? So yeah, mutual fund versus individual stock, so you can basically do that. Right? So it's just like that. So they are all different school, they are all different time frame, they are all swear by different people. Different. Okay, so that's why I tell you, you please don't go Italian restaurant and say that the Chinese chow mein is better. If the Chinese chow mein is better, please go Chinese chow mein store. Pretty easy, right? Okay, don't go Italian there, and then complain about this. But no, stay there, So please lah, don't lah. Right, so when Sifu read for BaZi, it was is too segregated. The weak and the strong, the palace duty maintained as farmer. Yeah lah, correct. Right, so it's last time you need to know the last time the period is very difficult for a person to actually make changes. So I always tell people last time game plan very easy one. Your family have a farm, you're a farmer, you learn how to become a farmer. You don't go and become a fisherman. You don't. Right? You don't, your family is a fisherman family. You don't try and become a singer. It doesn't work that way. Okay? The entire game plan is for you to continue to become a farmer. All right, but today is very different. All right, today when we talk about very different. But anyway lah, they got another one more. They got another one more school, right? So which is called the blind school. Right? So again, this is like another different creature. I'm trying to read the text. Right, I'm trying to read the text, trying to make sense of it. But anyway, this one, the happening is Ziping. After Ziping has done his Ziping method, right, and become damn famous, he feel very sorry for those people who doesn't have eyesight. So what happened is that he changed the Ziping method. This basically is a Ziping method on the basis and then orally transmitted the reading method to blind people, so that the blind people can have a method of making a living. right? So he feel really bad for them. So he created the entire system for the blind people so that they can use this to read people's life and get paid for it lah. So it's pretty much is a noble work. Then thereafter is that the method that is used by the blind sect, you want to call it, the blind sect, is only transmitted to blind people. So it's only blind people transmit to blind people. But question is, how does the blind guy know that the other guy is blind? And how does the blind guy know that when he's transmitting the blind thing that time, don't have other non-blind people around? I don't know lah. But anyway, right? So if you want to learn the blind man method one, the text is widely available in the internet today. Not very blind, but this knowledge is not gated by the imperial court. This one is already at a time whereby now you need to know the imperial court, right? It is not just one imperial court. In the olden day, there's just many different empire. China is very damn famous for having many different empire, and it was during the Qin Shi Wang, Huangdi, right? So Huangdi time, right, which is Zhu Yuanzhang. At that particular time only they managed to unify all these different empire into one China, right? Which is Xing Huangdi. Before that, it was like this, So yes, this knowledge is basically usually only the imperial court people would be able to do. But what happened is when one empire fall at that time, these people who serve the empire, right? They are not stupid, like they won't stay there and get blindly butchered by the other empire who basically win. They run. So when they run, they go back, they go into the normal society. See, they also need to find food. So what they do is that they only know how to use this skill set, then they use this skill set. So they become Gong Wu Shi. They become wandering Gong Wu people. no better than the blind people, right? So what is that? Right? So it's basically that. Right? So this particular knowledge, I believe, is through a lot of data gathering that they have done. Because why? When you are serving the court, you got one good thing is that you are able to see how the person grow. Because you're going to be in the court for a very long time. You get to see how people develop. So then you can form a lot of conclusion because there's sufficient data for you to study. It's just like that, right? So these are all just different school, please, right? So they are just different school. I'm just telling you that if you are studying in one school, then please limit your things to that particular school framework. If that particular school tells you that strong and weak is very important, you just say yes, you just study strong and weak is very important. Don't try to throw in your Shensha lah. But the fella got this Shensha inside already, not relevant. For that particular school, Shensha is not relevant. So if you're reading Shensha, please don't throw in strong and weak lah. Oh, but I'm a weekday master, Shensha don't have weekday master. In the world of Shensha, there are no strong day master, there's no weekday master, strong element, day element, 12 growth phase, but my Shensha is in the death phase of the 12 growth stage, not relevant. If you're going to read the death phase of the 12 growth phase, then go and take the 12 growth phase characteristic, and that's it. Right? So that is basically the reading. Don't go and add in your Shensha, don't go and inject in your Nayin, then suddenly you got a eating god coming up, please don't go and do that. Right? Because why? If you start to do that, then it become durian ramen. If you are durian ramen, very difficult to swallow. Okay. Right, it's very different. So you want to eat durian? Please go to the durian farm and eat durian. Don't add ramen into it. You want to eat ramen? Please go and eat ramen. Don't mix them up together. Right? Lead to a lot of confusion when systems are mixed. Yeah. Right? So it's durian coated. I don't know. I try to avoid this. At least in eating, I try to avoid this, right? So that's why sometimes I don't really like fusion menu. Right, you want to eat Japanese, go eat Japanese. Yeah, durian ramen. Yeah, right. So now, yeah. Hey, durian is everywhere already. Yeah. Yeah, durian bubble tea. Green onion. No, green onion. what do you say is the 香菜 the what do you call the 香菜? Coriander. Damn. Okay. Coriander in coffee, you know, it's like parsley. Oh yeah, parsley. Correct. Coriander, parsley, right? Salted egg, everything, right? So yeah, right. So if now here's the thing, if now you go and study BaZi, right? They basically teach you everything. They're basically gonna teach you everything. But I'm just telling you that a lot of people will teach you everything. I don't know whether they don't care or they don't know or they don't bother that it is actually very different time frame. Application very different, right? Application very different. You have to put them as side dish. So you know it's like you eat ramen but then got durian on the side. I think it's fine. But when you take the durian and cook the ramen, okay, right? So now this one is for you to, you know, just to do, you know. So we will try to do all. If one day, if I ever understand this bloody blind man method, right? So if I understand how does the logic work, right? But anyway, the blind man method, I think whoever learned this, right, or their memory has to be like damn good, man. How the hell did they remember so many things? Right? Probably because, you know, the fella is blind already, you know, then the fella got no choice. So the fella have to remember more things than normal. Right? So you see, blind men, they can internally plot the chart. Right? So they can't use software at the bay. Hey, hello. Right? Blind people cannot use software. So what do the blind people do is they sit down, you tell them your birth date, then they will be able to tell you things already. Because why? You know, they will need to mentally plot the chart. Right? Mentally, they will have the chart going, bling. Then, you know, they will start telling story based on the chart. That's it. Amazing, huh? Right? By the way, you know, it's like super amazing. Right? So they must have a really good AI calculative brain to basically do this. Awesome people, right? So no, so now you know that there's, you know, different. So of course, you know, there's got to be in between stuff. In between, like just now I told you, the 12 growth phase is basically one in between, right? So then you have your the pure the what we call your 5-element reading, right? So 5-element reading also is basically, you know, under the strong and weak clan. I call them clan, right? It's 5-element reading, right? So then you got your 10 god reading, right? So 10 god reading is the structural base reading. Your Shensha, right? So your Shensha and then your Nayin. Right, so these are the main culprit, main guy. Right, so like for example, there's also a imagery school, which is brother sister of Nayin. Imagery school means that, you know, your 4 pillar is converted into an image. You know, it look like your BaZi chart is a sandy beach with a, you know, pretty awesome, right? It's pretty awesome way of doing a reading, right? So just convert your actual BaZi into a graphical image. Can be done one, right? That one can be done. Okay, yeah, it's doable. All right. Yours is a walking road. Right. Okay, right. So no, yeah. So no, that's basically way of doing reading. Now, all of this, the entire idea is basically to give you a baseline on how you work. That's it. All right. So no, it is not there to fix your future. It's basically telling you, hey, your BaZi chart is giving this sort of description, which means that under this sort of circumstance and under this sort of characteristic and things that's happening, you have an advantage. That's all you want to know in BaZi only, actually. It's basically to find out is under what condition, under what circumstance that I would have an edge over the other person. So if the other person is supposed to be a scholastic drawing guy and you are supposed to be a militaristic army guy, then you cannot be asking the scholastic drawing guy to go and fight, whereas ask the militaristic army guy to go and draw picture in the office. Doesn't work. That's all you need to understand only. right? So if you know that you are this type of person, then you go do this type of work, then it's easier for you to be successful. You will gain more resources, you know, from the things that you're doing. Everybody have their role, right? In society, everyone have their role, right? So you don't try to, you know, mix over your role to the others. Right? Cool. Right, as time goes by, you know, we slowly move into different technique. You know, you slowly understand the breadth and also the depth of the our forefather, right? Our forefather technique. It's really amazing that the Chinese is able to come up with all this sort of stuff long time ago, right? So no, yeah, right. These are all not really very new, but at the same time, it's very new, very junior, right? So all of these were made popular probably about 200 years ago only. Yeah, that junior. Our calendar is 2000 year, right? It was only about 200 years ago that it was made popular. You know, it was invented long time ago, right? So I guess how John said, because last time it was strictly used in the imperial court, strictly used there, right? So because why? Again, now normal people just cannot understand this, so it become very difficult for you to talk to normal people, and also they don't have the opportunity to make changes. It make it extra difficult. So which means if I see your BaZi is supposed to be, let's say that, oh, you're supposed to be a great general, but if you're not giving the opportunity to basically join the army, no way for you to do that, right? So you probably become local thugs. All right, so that's my sharing for today, right? So hopefully it open up your knowledge base a bit, right? So and help you out a bit in understanding, right? So on your side, try not to mix. You need to know that they exist, but don't try to durian ramen the thing. All right, that's it, guys. See you all. Bye.